Welcome to Tanakh Talk. I'm your host, William Hall, broadcasting live from Kingston, Texas, USA, with another episode of TNT, Totally Not True, with that awesome Rabbi Stuart the Man Federow. He disappeared on my screen. I got to find him again. Hold on. There he is. I don't know where it went to now. That's really bizarre. Well, you guys are just going to sit tight and figure out where my video feed went. Rabbi, how are you tonight? It's good to see you.
I'm doing okay. I've been a little under the weather. I'm on an antibiotic. It's been an interesting week or so.
Oh, right. I got you. But how are you feeling now? Are you feeling better?
I'm feeling okay.
Gotcha.
Certainly better.
Right. Wow.
I'm not 100%, but then again, I usually am not. So.
Well, hopefully it'll change one of these days.
Yeah.
I have got I'm going to leave the screen just like it's sitting for now, because I have a monitor that just went out and I can't see where to grab the video feed.
Yeah, not only that, but everything seemed to have stopped.
Wait, I think I just grabbed it. Oh, there it is right there. I think I might have just fixed it. Hold on. And now let's see if this works. Voila, there it is. Cool. I don't know what happened. I've got 6 screens in here, and one of them just stopped working for some reason. That's the screen I had your Skype display on, so I couldn't see where to grab it to put it onto another screen. But I managed to get it to show up after all. So very good. And now let me make sure my internet is still rocking and rolling like it should be, and it is. So we are happy. Good to see you, Andre.
Thank you, Laura A.
Laura, good to see you guys.
Hello from Guatemala.
Welcome. Bosho. All right, let's see what we got here. That's better.
Hey, Alan Edwards, did you know that my book is now in Spanish?
Super duper. That's all I got to say about that. All right. Oh, I just figured out how to do this something here. Y'all sit tight. We got to get this baby rolling now. So our topic tonight, clearly, why is it that the New Testament paints the Pharisees as wicked and evil, kind of like they do the Jewish people, you know? So there you go. That's where we're going to start off at. Robert, I will mess with my screens after you get the ball rolling here. That way we don't delay any further. If that sounds good to you, it sounds good to me. What you thinking?
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Whatever you said.
Alan said yes.
Sounds good to me.
Alan said yes. He's proofreading it now.
Proofreading it.
Yeah, I guess you're going to make sure you didn't make any mistakes.
Proofreading it?
That's what he says.
Proofreading is before it goes to publication. It's already in publication.
I think he was being silly. I think he's being silly. Like, say, I'm going to proofread it now. Make sure you didn't make any past tense, make any mistakes. That's funny. Hello, Deuteronomy 4:2. Golem, welcome. S. Sager. Manishma, we're doing good.
Hello,
Fixing to have a show.
Chapter 4, verse 2 for the Woodlands. You're not that far away from me.
Cool. He is JKG. I don't know who JKG is. J. Rock, welcome. All right, Rabbi, so let's kick this thing off. Why is it that...
Let me say this.
Okay.
I have a little bit of a weird take on this. My take on this is more historical than it is theological or philosophical. Usually, we're talking belief and philosophy and theology and this kind of thing, but this, I think, is really more to do with history,
okay,
and politics. And people kind of neglect sometimes that all religion tends to be affected by the politics around them, and I don't want to get into a conversation about it, but, for a long time, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, LDS, was rather, bluntly racist, but they had a revelation because of the, change against the society went against segregation, went against prejudice, went against racism. So they had a great revelation and said, okay, this is no longer true. So politics can very much affect the religion. and I think history affected the religion here drastically.
Okay.
Would you do me a favor and bring up Luke chapter 5, verse 17?
Luke, use the force, Luke.
Luke, I am your father. Or something like that. I don't remember the exact quote.
All right, you said Luke 5:17, correct?
Correct.
Okay, here we go. Give it 1 second. Oh, really? You gotta do this to me? This is one of my screen issues I'm having here. Hang on. Swing low, swing chariot. You're gonna have to go, Rabbi. I cannot put it up tonight.
Coming for to carry me home. Swing low.
Rabbi, you're gonna have to do it. I can't put it up. That's one of my screens. I can't access. My internet is lost on that screen somewhere, and I can't figure out how to click and grab it. Sorry.
Okay.
You just got to go with it.
Weird, but all right. Let's try to do it this way.
Okay. You can share your screen if you want to. Put it up on your screen. Just do a screen share.
You know, we've never done that.
I know.
That might
Shame
be a real
on us.
much easier, faster, quicker way.
I think it would be actually.
Then wait a minute.
I think you are correct.
Share screen.
There you go. And then you got to. If you only have one screen, that'll be your only option. But if you have multiple, you have to select the correct one. There you go. All right, it's trying to share right now. And let me get my ugly mug shot off of here. Let's see.
It's not doing it. I know, 30-second delay.
Oh, I see. Well, no, actually, right now, what they're going to see is just a black screen. It's not actually showing any text yet. So,
did I mess something up?
You might have selected a wrong screen. Try it again. See if there's another option.
Stop sharing.
There? Okay.
Okay. Share screen.
Now see if there's more than one option.
eSword.
No, black screen.
Okay, forget it then.
Okay. All right, you just
That's
have to read.
probably why I've never done share screen with
Right.
Skype. You got to figure out how to use Zoom.
Right.
Okay, wait a minute.
Okay.
Stop sharing.
Yeah, there you go. Switch it back. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how to do it. All right, forget that. All right. So if you take a look at Luke chapter 5, verse 17, okay, let's back up even a bigger step, okay? Historically, when were the Gospels written? When was the book of Acts? And when were the epistles of Paul written?
Well, I know that
Which comes first?
Paul came first.
Right, exactly.
The chicken or the egg. So it had to have been Paul first, and then the Gospels came 30, 40, and 50 years later.
Right. And then the Gospels were written over a course of from about 30 to about 60 years after Jesus was dead and buried. You got to keep that in mind.
Right.
The first Gospel to have been written down, according to most Christian theologians, is Mark, then Matthew, then Luke, then John. So
Right.
if there was a way to do this, I'm not sure how, but the book of Acts mentions the Pharisees. To my knowledge, and I'm not an expert in any of this, every single reference to the Pharisees is found in the Gospels and Acts.
Okay.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John in the book of Acts. Paul didn't say a thing about the Pharisees. The word Pharisees, I don't think, even shows up in the epistles of Paul, the letters of Paul. Okay, if Paul came first, why is it that why is it that the Gospels are filled with the Pharisees? Okay, take a look at Mark. Let's see, let's do this quick.
I might be able to pull it up. I figured out.
According to my computer program, Mark has 11 verses. Matthew has 29 verses. Luke has 21 verses. So Mark has half of Luke. Okay. And Mark and Luke combined are only a couple of verses more than what are found in Matthew. And John has 19, almost the same as Luke.
Okay.
Book of Acts only has 5. The epistles have 0, according to this program. Why is this true? And my argument is this. In the book of Acts, I keep doing that. In the epistles of Paul, the Pharisees were basically irrelevant. He was preaching to a non-Jewish audience. He was preaching to the Christians already existing in the Mediterranean area and to the days of Paul. The Pharisees weren't competition.
Mm-hmm.
But after the fall of the Second Temple, the Pharisees, and we're going, in my opinion, I could be wrong, in my opinion, we're going to see this development in the book of Luke, in the first mention in the book of Luke of the Pharisees, and it's in the verse that I mentioned before, which is Luke 5, verse 17.
Okay. I've got it working.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I've got it working now, so I'm going to put it up on screen here in just a second.
Luke 5:17, if you can.
Yes, sir.
If not, let's not fool around with it.
Yeah, I already got it. It's done.
Okay. And it came to pass on a certain day, as that's Jesus, was teaching, that there were Pharisees and doctors of the law sitting by, which were come out of every town of Galilee and Judea and Jerusalem, and the power of the Lord. Power of the Lord.
I've got the power, Scotty.
What?
As I've got the power, Scotty. Okay.
So, what's going on here?
I had to get it. Oh, you talking about me or the Bible stuff?
No, the Bible stuff.
Okay, sorry, I was stretching the screen to make it fit.
It's not the Bible, it's the Christian New Testament. The Bible only refers to Hebrew Scripture.
Thank you for pointing that out, for sure.
Yeah. All right, so the point is this. The Pharisees were the precursors of the rabbis. Rabbinic Judaism traces itself to the Pharisees. What is going on? What happened? Some, not all, historians say the following. That Pharisaic, which is to say Rabbinic Judaism, developed because the other movements of Judaism in that day, Essenes, Sadducees, Zealots, who am I missing, were political entities. They were playing politics. They were trying to influence the Roman government. They were trying to obtain or maintain, or whatever the word is, power, political power, 2,000 years ago. The Pharisees are the only ones who survived. So the Sadducees, the Essenes, that was the other one. The Sadducees, the Essenes, the Zealots were the other groups. And we make a mistake if we believe that there were Essenes, and they're over here, and the Pharisees, and they're over here, and the Sadducees, and they're over here, and it wasn't like that. Do political parties right now, are they really that distinct? A person really can't be a liberal Republican. A person really cannot be a conservative Democrat. There aren't people who have Democratic leanings, even if they're in the Republican Party. There can't be people who have conservative leanings if they're in the Democrat Party. It's just not that clear cut. It's not that clear cut between the various groups. Jesus himself was probably a Pharisee, most likely a Pharisee,
right?
But he had zealot leanings. Who had the swords? Who wanted to overthrow the Roman government by force? The zealots. What does Jesus tell his followers? Haven't I seen that you had everything you need? Now I'm telling you, go get a sword. Okay? Take your script and go buy a sword. There are other verses that indicate the same thing. The Sadducees were political entities created, written, and produced by Rome. They basically were the temple group. They only had power in the temple because Rome allowed them to have it, which means they were part of the express. Well, let me clean this up. They were kissing tush of the Roman government in order to maintain their power. When the temple fell, they had no base of power, no temple anymore. Okay? The zealots were for open rebellion against Rome. Okay? They're the ones who produced the Sicarii. Okay? Had a long blade about that big, walked by a person, stabbed them in the, in the side that went all the way to the heart, pull it out and keep walking, and the person just drops, and they're 10 feet away when the person drops already. They were assassins. Okay? Well, you try to make war against Rome, you're going to get squashed like a bug. Sadducees lost out because the temple fell. The Zealots lost out because the rebels against Rome got squashed like a bug. The Essenes were this lunatic fringe who took themselves out into the desert and, looking back at the Jerusalem they left, well, we've got the right priest. We got the priest of righteousness. They got the bad priest. Okay.
Right.
They only got membership not by having children. They were celibate. They only got them by proselytizing. Guess what? That don't work too well. They died out. Every group dies out except the Pharisees. What did the Pharisees do to enable themselves to survive Rome? Okay? And in the words of my teacher, they went from politics to piety. They changed their approach to Judaism as not a way to engage in political intrigue, political entity, but a way to approach God. It became Rabbinic Judaism. What is Rabbinic Judaism? 613 commandments. Each commandment is like a ladder of 613 rungs to elevate you to God. Not to elevate you to power, not to get you in good with the political powers that be. Right. But the only political power that matters is our relationship with God, and what God teaches us about our relationship and connections with other of creation. Mm-hmm. So the Pharisees shifted their approach to what they were all about by shifting it from politics to piety.
Okay.
So Luke chapter 5 verse 17. Okay, in Luke chapter 5 verse 17, what exactly does it say? Okay, you got it pulled up?
Which one? What verse?
Luke 5:17, the one you
had.
Yeah.
Let me put it back on screen again. Sorry.
Okay.
There you
go. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And it came to pass on a certain day as he was teaching that there were Pharisees and doctors of the law. What does that mean? Sitting by, which were come out of every town of Galilee and Judea and Jerusalem, and the power of the Lord was present to heal them. So there were Pharisees and doctors of the law. Doctors, okay, it sounds like doctors of the law were there also to get healed. Pharisees and doctors of the law who were come out of every town, and the power of the Lord was present to heal them. To heal who? To heal the Pharisees and doctors of the law. That's how I read that verse. Okay? Doctors of the law are nomo something or other, which basically means, wait a minute. Why is this not working? Oh, that's why. Very funny. Okay, so The word was nomodidaskalos. Nom od id askalos. So what does that mean? Nomo is from nomos, meaning law, as antinomian, against the law. Nomo, law. Didaskalos, like didactic, like to argue, debate, whatever, expound. They're rabbis. So you got the Pharisees with the rabbis. Pharisees and the rabbis were a unit. They came together. By the time of Luke, when was Luke written? Luke is in the 80s. Okay, not 1980s, but 80, like 85, 87, somewhere around there. 20 years, 15 years, give or take, somewhere around there, after the destruction of the second temple. Plenty of time to start inventing things like the Passover Seder, the Haggadah, to start doing rabbinic things and becoming a competition to Christianity. And that's why you have the Gospels plus Acts talking about the Pharisees and not the epistles to the already existing Christian communities in the Mediterranean area, because that wasn't his concern, Paul's concern. But when Luke is being written, when the Gospels are being written, okay, now you have this major movement of Judaism that is catching on. Pharisees and doctors of the law coming from out of every town of the Galilee, Judea, Jerusalem, which means by the time of Luke in the 80s, this rabbinic Judaism, this thing that developed out of the Pharisees, because you got Pharisees and rabbis together because they came from the same mentality. They were together and they already existed. So why do you have this hatred in the Gospels and Acts against the Pharisees? Because Pharisees became rabbinic Judaism. So the real question is, why did they dislike rabbinic Judaism? And the answer is because rabbinic Judaism was the competitor of Christianity after the destruction of the second temple. But the funny thing about it is, okay, if you read the red letter words of Jesus, okay, let's go up.
You want the script back up again?
No, you have to have that up.
Oh.
We're going to go to something else.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Wait a minute. Let me get to it. Okay.
I've got other things popping in that I didn't know was there.
All right. Look at, this is kind of obvious, but Matthew chapter 5, verse 20 and following.
Okay. Oh, that's why. One second. Okay, Matthew 5.
Yeah. Okay. Or go back to 17 if you can.
Okay. Oh, 5:17. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to Matthew 5:17. All right. There it is. Think not that I've come to destroy the law or the prophets. I have not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
Right. For verily I say to you, till heaven and earth pass, not one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till everything be fulfilled. Last time I looked, heaven and earth was still here.
Right.
The red letter quotes of Jesus are very, very positive towards Jewish law. What Jewish law are they referring to here? There is no other Jewish law. Right. Excuse me. Sorry. There is no other law except Jewish law, except the laws of the Bible, mainly the Torah, but also developing in the rabbinic law. How do we know that? Keep reading. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. Please notice he's still in heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
Right.
And here's the kicker. For I say to you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. To read only the words of Jesus in the red letters, he's very, very positive towards Jewish law in general and Pharisees and their interpretation of laws specifically.
Right.
Okay?
Also, now taking it right after this, and we can come back to it again because it's in the exact same context.
Okay.
Matthew 23. Okay. It's literally, these could have been stitched together in the same
Matthew
sentence.
23.
Yep.
Okay. That's where I was going to next.
There we go. Two minds. So then spake Jesus to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat.
But what does that mean? What does it mean to sit in Moses' seat? Moses isn't here anymore.
Right. But the judgment seat of his was, which is the laws.
Okay, but what is Moses' seat?
It's symbolic for like the courthouse seat, like the judge's seat.
And therefore, what is it saying?
It's saying obey all those laws.
Yes, it's saying that now the Pharisees have Moses' authority.
Right.
And that's a very important concept. Right. That after Moses, Pharisees have the authority of Moses.
Right. And it says, all therefore... Yep, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
All therefore whatsoever they bid you to observe and do, but do not do after... Well, pause on that for a second. Okay, here's something I find interesting. The first 2.5 verses are very, very crystal clear on do everything written in the law. But what happens is, as soon as that comma is there, and then it says what they do afterwards, he says, but do not do after their works, for they say and do not. They totally lose that. They totally erase everything at the first 3 verses and say, well, then that must mean that we don't have to do anything then. It just said to do everything.
No,
so why would it?
I'm not sure I agree with your analysis there, but okay.
Maybe you either didn't hear me right, or maybe we're just going to word it differently. But would you agree that all the laws are to be observed?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I said. But Christians will see this, right, and they'll throw out the entire law. It says, but don't do after their works. And their teaching is, well, their works are obeying the law, so don't do after them. I don't know a single...
No. That's not how I see this at all.
Well, I don't know. I've been to many churches, and every one of them agree in the fact that the law is dead and buried.
No. Yes, they say the law is dead and buried because Paul's writing portrays the law as only meant to tell you are a sinner so that you will later understand how badly you need Jesus.
Right.
But this is, in my opinion, contradicts Paul, because Paul is very antinomian, very against the law.
Right.
The law is the law. What's it called? The law is a
curse.
Curse. Couldn't think of the word. The law is a curse. But here, Jesus is saying, keep the law.
Right.
And even though the Pharisees may be hypocrites and they may not do exactly as they say you're supposed to
still do it.
Do as they say, not as they do.
Right.
You're still supposed to do it.
Right. But they have the same mindset with Matthew 5. It says, think not that I came to destroy the law, but I came to destroy the law. That's how they apply that same
practice. That's how Christians might understand it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Because of the writings of Paul.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But if you take a look at the red letter Jesus words, okay, Jesus was very much not only pro-law,
right,
not only saying till one jot or tittle,
jot or tittle,
can't even talk, jot or tittle, okay, till heaven and earth pass away, keep the law.
Right.
He's also saying that the people with the authority to interpret that law are the Pharisees.
Right. Agreed.
Okay. And he talks about, the rabbis' hypocrisy, the Pharisees' hypocrisy, but he still says, do what they tell you to do, which means their interpretation is correct.
Yep.
The way in which they interpret is correct.
Whether they do it or not, that's a different story.
I'm sorry, what?
And whether they do it or not is not the point. They're telling you the right stuff, so do what they say.
Exactly.
Do as I say, not as I do.
So you have an argument here between the later writings, which condemn Paul. They condemn Paul, and the people who wrote the Gospels are in contradiction to the writings of Paul, and the Gospel writers condemned Paul. So can we go back to the Matthew 5?
Yes.
Okay.
1 second.
When it says 5:19.
Okay.
You got it?
Got it.
Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so. Isn't that what Paul did? Paul told people, you don't have to keep the law.
Right.
He shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. Now, he may still be in heaven, but he's the least there. Whosoever shall do them and teach them, which, by the way, means the Pharisees, it means the people who follow the Pharisees, it means the rabbis, it means rabbinic Jews. Whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
Right.
It's completely contradictory to what Paul was saying
right,
in
absolutely.
the epistles. So you have a major argument here between the writers of the Gospels, because you'll find the same thing in other Gospels, by the way, and you have it arguing with Paul and his writings, and this statement condemns Paul. Yeah, he's going to be in heaven, but he's going to be the least there. And above him, greater than him, in heaven are the ones who keep rabbinic, i.e. Pharisaic law, because they will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. That's an attack on Paul.
Right.
And then, when it goes on to say, For I say to you, that except your righteousness exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case enter the kingdom of heaven. It is slam dunk that Jesus, according to the writing of Matthew, is pro-law, not against the law. He is pro-law, and he's pro-Pharisee, which means he's pro-rabbinic Judaism.
Right.
So,
Yep. Agreed.
why then do you have these other things that portray rabbinic, i.e. Pharisaic Judaism, as so horrible and evil and what's the word that they use? They only see the letter of the law. They can't understand the spirit of the law.
Yep.
And my argument is because the greatest competitors to Christians take, and I mean by that take, like I take it away.
Yeah.
Okay, they're co-opting of Judaism. The biggest competitor to their co-opting were the Jews themselves, which by this time, which we quoted already in Luke, the vast numbers of people following Pharisaic Judaism, i.e. rabbinic Judaism.
Yep.
So why we have, why is it so mean-spirited towards the Pharisees is because that's how you treat your competition.
Yep. True. Very true.
All right. So let's take a look at the writings. Writings. Let's take a look at the
That's funny.
Chat. Ooh, interesting stuff.
Trying to get my headphones to quit moving around.
I see the word. Let's see. Thank you, Laura A. Trying to get better. Guatemala we discussed.
Yeah, you do sound a lot better, by the way.
Thank you, Crystal. I hope to get the Hebrew translations out there, but it's really difficult to find people to publish your book in Israel. And Israel doesn't even know what publish on demand means. All the different publishers that publish on demand, they don't do that in Israel. It's the old-fashioned way where you buy 10,000 copies and try to find somebody who will put it in the bookstores, but you keep it in your garage and hope you yourself personally can sell them. Not a good way to do it. Let's see.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, by the way, I'm not responsible, Alan Edwards, for the translation. It was done by a gentleman. It's probably the distinction between Guatemalan Spanish and Mexican Spanish. But whatever it is, it is. It can't be changed. The way it is now is the way it's going to be. Thank you, Danielle Prince. All right.
Okay, so should we open up the phone lines?
Absolutely.
Okay. You all sit tight, honey.
Thank you, Andrea. I see that you put that verse up from Luke.
Yes, that's what she was referring to. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Andrea. Very nice. Very nice. That was a good idea. Use chat as a backup plan. Way to go. Golden.
Bristow, I know how to do Zoom. I do it all the time with services and you name it. But I think we need to figure out how to Zoom into Tanakh Talk as opposed to chat. But that's I don't know if that's going to be a pain or what.
All right, ladies and germs. Your phone line is on the screen. 855
Golem 1, the New Testament was an oral tradition, yes, but when it became written is what we're dealing with because that's what we've got.
Yeah, and in that we ain't got nothing from Jesus. We got a lot of stuff about Jesus, but we ain't got nothing from him.
Which shows the distinction between the religion of Jesus, which is called Judaism, and the religion about Jesus, which is called Christianity. Right, Golem 1. Where the Christians make a mistake about Hillel and Shabbat, like that would have been forbidden. Yeah, right. Exactly. So, yeah, Paul says he was a Pharisee of Pharisees and a student of Gamaliel, but that would be like saying I was a student of Albert Einstein and I barely know physics.
Right. We actually had a show. We have a single topic show that we did with the singer a while back. Literally, that was the title. Was Paul really a student of Gamaliel? Or Gamaliel?
Gamaliel or Gamaliel.
Yeah. There we go. Color's on. Oh, he just hung up. I didn't do anything. He just rang once and disappeared.
Hey, I got to tell you, the phone lines have been terrible. I've been talking to people all day and call them back and have to call them back and have to call them back because we keep getting disconnected. It's not my phone. It's not their phone either. I think it's the lines in between.
Interesting. Whoever just called, call back because I lost you there somehow. I was moving my mouse over to click and it disappeared before I got to it.
Yep.
There he is.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Servant of the Most High says Yehoshua.
Oh.
Skunk Ape Farm Off Grid says Yeshua. Others say Yehushu. Somebody really needs to learn how to read Hebrew.
Okay, Rabbi, we got a caller. Call you live on the air. Please tell us your name. Where are you calling from?
You got me, Jerry,
yes.
And this is from Portland.
Jerry, welcome.
And my question is a pretty quick one. It's about that verse in Genesis about Shiloh, or however you pronounce that. And what my question is how could he be the Messiah when it says that the scepter departs from him? So my theory on this, and I know this has been up for debate, was that Shiloh can't be the Messiah because he's not from Judah, but he could be his grandson, not related, not his direct line. So that's my theory is that Shiloh is actually his grandson and not the Messiah himself.
Just remind me real quick of what verse you're talking about.
Oh, it's Genesis 49:10, something like that, where the scepter won't depart till Shiloh comes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I always thought that was very interesting how they do that.
Yeah.
Because, okay, if I say to you, you will have enough money in your bank account until you get a check deposited, that means that after you get the check deposited, you're not going to have money in your bank. Clearly, that when I say to you, you will have money in your bank until the check gets deposited, even after the check gets deposited, you'll still have money in your bank. This verse is pretty much the same thing. Okay, the scepter, which is the symbol of power, shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet. Okay, meaning that the authority to be a king is going to be only in the tribe of Judah forever. Okay? And then it says, until Shiloh come, or depends on the translation, until he comes to whom it belongs. Shiloh. Not Shali, Shiloh. It's not mine, it's his. Until his comes. But what they neglect is that even after the Messiah comes, who must be from the tribe of Judah, the scepter will still be in Judah because the Messiah will be reigning. So even after the Messiah comes, because the Messiah is from the tribe of Judah, the scepter will still be in Judah. Just like the money will still be in your bank account even after you deposit another check.
Exactly right.
But it always amazes me that their Christian interpretation of this is that, well, when the Messiah comes, no longer does the tribe of Judah have the power. And as soon as Jesus came, Judah didn't have the power, except according to their tradition, incorrect, but nevertheless, Jesus was still from the tribe of Judah. So I think it's a very weird interpretation, kind of neglects what it means. Okay,
yeah,
and then
to me,
you're quite. Go ahead.
Well, to me, it seems quite the opposite. It seems like it's saying, no, the scepter will depart when he comes. So it's like David is
the guy who comes,
that's the end of the line.
But if the guy who comes is also from the tribe of Judah, and the guy who comes gets the power, how did it depart? Let's pretend we're talking about Jesus, which it's not, or his grandson or whatever, okay? Let's pretend it's talking about Jesus. Christian belief is that Jesus was from the tribe of Judah through Mary, through whatever, okay? The point is, if the purpose of the lineages, Matthew and Luke, is to show Jesus as a rightful heir to the throne of King David. So if they're going to say that Judah no longer has the authority or has the privilege of creating the king, what does that do to Jesus? Jesus is supposedly...
That's not really my point. I'm not really a Christian arguing for that. What I'm saying is that my theory is that, okay, let's say it's hypothetical. I'm not a Christian, by the way. I'm not trying to point that way. But my question is hypothetically. Let's say David comes back. David takes the throne. Let's say David has children, which he's supposed to have, at least according to Isaiah 53. The way I read it, David is going to have children, right? So let's say he has two children. Let's say he has boys, but his boy can't have a son, so he has a daughter. His daughter has a son, but that daughter isn't really from his tribe. So wouldn't that mean that if he had a son through his daughter, that the scepter is departing from Judah?
Well, wait a minute. First of all, the daughter would still be from the tribe of Judah.
Is that how it works? If
but she doesn't pass along.
I don't know how your tribes work. I thought tribes went through the father and not the mother.
The tribe
inheritance of it goes through the father, but it doesn't mean the women weren't part of the tribe.
So his daughter would be the same tribe. So if his daughter married somebody who wasn't a Jew, for instance, would that mean that is he Jewish or not? Is he in the tribe or not?
He's not in the tribe, but he'd be Jewish, because the daughter would still be Jewish.
Right.
But because he cannot inherit the throne through his biological Jewish father, then it wouldn't matter. He doesn't have. You got a tribe of Judah. You got a daughter of that person in the tribe of Judah. She marries out of the faith. She marries someone who's not a Jew. Their child would still be considered Jewish because the mother's Jewish, but the child would not be considered part of the tribe of Judah because he cannot inherit it from his mother. He only inherits it from the father,
right?
Which would preclude him from being the Messiah as well.
Right. Yeah, I'm not saying he's the Messiah. I'm saying he's a descendant of the Messiah.
He's a descendant, but that doesn't mean he's part of the tribe of the Messiah, namely Judah.
Okay.
As such, I'm not even sure he can. As such, I'm not sure he can even sit on the throne.
Well, that's what you're saying, but it's saying it right there that the scepter will depart. So it's possible that he will sit on the throne.
Well, I think there are probably plenty of other people who are from the tribe of Judah who could also legally be the king.
Right. Right. And ideally,
remember that King David had an awful lot of children.
Well, not only that,
So
but
did Solomon,
King
for that
David,
matter.
King David himself may be the only one who takes the throne, and even for eternity. So
yeah, that was my point. Is that maybe he takes it for eternity,
right?
but he has an offspring that is ruling or something like that. That's the way it seems to be.
And
me.
Even if he did, the offspring would still probably be not only Jewish, but still from the tribe of Judah because it descended from King David. I think it is adding an unnecessary characteristic to say that the daughter of the king of the Messiah isn't going to marry somebody who's also Jewish. I think that's a real stretch. So the high likelihood is that David would have other children besides through his, and therefore have an inheritor to his throne other than through his daughter's non-Jewish husband.
Okay. Well, that was just my question.
That's
okay,
cool.
Thanks for answering that.
Hey, that's deep thought, and there are some things.
Yeah, it's very well thought out too, by the way.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, man. Go ahead and hang up now. Thanks, man. We'll talk to you soon. Appreciate the call. All right. Very good.
When he first mentioned scepter shall not depart, obviously, I mean, I recognize it, but I couldn't come up with 49:10.
Right. Yep. Same here. The numbers match, but I couldn't put the words to it.
I couldn't put the numbers to it, the chapter verse.
Good
when
deal.
he said scepter shall not depart, I knew what he meant. I just
Sure. Let's see. There was something earlier, and I forgot what it was. I should start taking notes.
Yes. Oh, how did that happen?
I got a call coming in. Here we go. Caller, you're live on the air. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, I have a question.
What's your name?
My name is Joseph.
Joseph, welcome.
Hi, may you be well.
Thank you, you too.
So, same with your guest.
Awesome.
So, in Isaiah 43:11,
yep.
before me, can you hear me?
Yes, go right ahead. Isaiah 43:11.
Okay. Yeah, and Yeshayahu 43:11. Before me, no Elohim was formed, and after me, none will come. Yes, I am Hashem, and there is no Savior but me.
Okay.
Okay. What about?
What is your question?
So El Elyon Yod He Vav He is the Savior. There is no other Savior. There's no. I don't think there's a Jesus, a Yeshua. I think it's Yod He Vav He, who I call Yahu,
Right.
which he is Yah, and he's like right now in Israel. If you take some time and type on your computer God's name on the Temple Mount, that thorn brush plant that grows out of the stones of the Temple Mount walls, even at the Wailing Wall, has spelled Yod He Vav on the eastern Temple Mount wall. It's there right now.
Okay.
They wouldn't actually write the whole thing out.
And
because
so,
of...
and some will say Shiloh, so many names, right? But it's he himself, the one that breathed the Ruach into us,
Yeah, totally agree. So do you have a question? Because we agree with that.
Okay, but did you know about the plant on the Temple Mount wall?
No.
I've heard of it,
I didn't, but
I'm not impressed by stuff like that.
right.
Yeah, it's real. The Pharisees. So wasn't Paul a Pharisee?
Supposedly.
Well, yeah, supposedly he claims to be, and he also claims to be a student of Gamaliel, but he sure doesn't know a whole lot, and he mistranslates things, and you wind up having things translated from the Hebrew to the Greek,
Right.
where it's a mistranslation.
Yeah, like some of the things he says, like those that eat vegetables that don't eat animal flesh are weak in faith, right? Well, then that tells me that he's literally that writer is saying that Adam and Hava were weak because they ate in Gan Eden and they didn't eat animals.
Right, but which would fit into Christian theology, by the way, because they see them as sinners. But yes, you're right.
Yeah, but then I have one more question. So Abel's name in Hebrew is either Habel or Havel. So if I see a pattern in the Torah. Every time you see the word vain or veins or vanity in the Masoretic text, and you hover over the word vain, it brings up Havel's name. His name is carrying forward, and his name means emptiness, idols, worthlessness. And then Cain, his name is full of substance, acquires, and it's almost and Yahoo is the master of armies. He uses human beings as armies to do his will, like Moshe when they
Let me pause you just for a second, because this is a Q&A session. Do you have an actual question that you want us to answer? Because, like I said, for the core basic of what you're talking about, I totally agree. The only thing is we wouldn't necessarily pronounce the sacred name unless there was a real hardcore reason why we needed to. But do you actually have a question for the show? Because if not, I'm going to go ahead and let you go and hang up because there's other people who have questions we're going to try to address, okay?
So I just say to you, Toda lahavana. Thank you for understanding, and Kadosh Baruch Hu. Bye-bye.
Okay. I don't think he knew that I was talking. He may have... okay.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. No, that's fine. I didn't... I had to turn him down because I wanted to make sure. I wanted to see if he could hear me, but he couldn't. But yeah, Q&A. I didn't get your question. I did hear you point out some things of your faith, which we're grateful for. Thank you for that.
Right, but when the last thing he says is Kadosh Baruch Hu, what about him? I think he may need some lessons in Hebrew too, but whatever.
Right.
Either way.
Yeah, it's okay.
But everything you said, William, was correct.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything we disagree with.
Right.
But and some of the things he said are interpretation, which is everybody's free to interpret whatever they want. It was not a question. Go ahead. Okay,
let's go with one online, and this very well could have been the color. I don't know. It says, thank you for your service. Actually, let's do online first. I'll keep this highlighted. Caller, you're live on the air. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, William. It's Christo from Lubbock. How have you been?
Hey,
hi, Christo.
welcome,
How you doing?
Christo. Good to have you back.
I'm doing good, fellas. I had a question for y'all. Apparently, my Messianic past keeps coming back to haunt me. Ugh. So a former student of mine called recently and brought up the whole thing with Revelation 2, verse 9 and chapter 3, verse 9. And oftentimes Christians, when they find out what my religion is, Judaism, that I go to the synagogue here, they bring up those two verses and saying, oh, you go to the synagogue of Satan, they cite those two verses.
Right.
So I usually ask her, some, not saying her, I ask them, okay, look at verse 8. So you're from the church in Smyrna, right? That usually stops it. But I looked at a modern Hebrew New Testament that I used to use. I don't know why I still have the darn thing. It's interesting that the Messianic movement I was a part in that we used, in the Hebrew, in those two verses, in modern Hebrew, it says, Knesset HaSatan, but we know that in Hebrew, synagogue is Beit Knesset.
Right.
Do you have any?
Interesting.
I would say
that's actually very interesting.
Yeah.
I've never noticed that before because I don't look at the Greek.
What's really funny is, ironically, that to me the first thing that jumps off this page is to those who say they are Jews but actually are not. Those are tangible, physical, not allegorical imposters, like Messianic Jews, for example. They say they're Jews, but we know they're not. So
we know they're not.
It's really talking about them, which is really weird. Even though Messianic movement didn't really start till the 70s or so, 70s or 80s, whatever it was, 60s or 70s. That was earlier than that, like 50 years ago. So that's one thing.
I just find it so humorous. I find it humorous that their own Bible tells them they are what they call the
right.
It's the pot calling the kettle black.
Not Rabbi Federow or anyone else.
Christo, I think the same thing. Every time anybody comes across or even mentions 2939 about they say they are Jews but are not, they are the synagogue of Satan, I always say the same thing. Sounds to me exactly like a Messianic synagogue.
And interestingly enough,
they say they're Jews, but they're not Jews.
Yep. And in both places, it says synagogue of Satan, and Christians will take that and just build the entire philosophy off of that. But really, both verses say what they're talking about. Both of them say they are Jews, but they're not. So it really seems like that's really talking about the synagogue of Satan or the imposters. Period. You know, it's really really wild.
And who today are the imposters? It's the Messianics,
Right.
who claim they're Jewish but have no ancestors who were in fact descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or converts into the religion.
And or Christians with replacement theology. Same thing.
Yeah.
Just like how I used to be before I left the Messianic Michigan.
Hey, brother, I was right
Pretty
there
much.
with you. I was so deep into it, man. You know what really blew my mind, Christo, is
Tell
that
me.
my late father, most of you know, was a Messianic leader in the Austin, Texas area for about 30 plus years, whatever. Man, he used to really just come off on the oral law, like talking about how the Jews, how they made up all this stuff. But it's really interesting. The whole time he's telling you all this stuff, he's wearing a kippah, he's wearing tzitzit, all the things that are found in the oral law. They do the prayer over the candles, which is also found in the oral law. You won't find that in Tanakh anywhere. While he bashes it, he's sitting here exercising it. I don't get it. It's mind-blowing.
I understand why he kind of did that. I had the same theology, and sadly a now former friend of mine is literally calling himself a Messianic rabbi, and it is so easy to prove he's not even Jewish. I have evidence he's not. Even his own personal website says he's not Jewish. I said, then why are you calling yourself a rabbi, my former friend? Why?
Right. You
I
can't
wish we
give,
could have copyrighted the terminology.
yeah, well, I mean, you can't give yourself a shmicha, technically. I mean, you can in the Messianic movement,
No.
apparently, because my father
Well, but
figured out a way to do
William,
it. So.
they're not giving it to themselves. They're given smicha by
Another
think it's-
Messianic, basically.
by other Messianics,
Yeah, right.
and usually at the convention, MJAA convention
Yes,
in
that is very
Messiah,
true.
Pennsylvania.
That is very true. Here's something that's really interesting, too, and I mentioned it before. Christo, as you're talking about your friend, how he's not even Jewish, he even says on his website, my biological father went even as far as to say on the website that he was persecuted as a Jewish child. We're not even Jewish.
I saw that on his website.
We are not even
Not
Jewish.
long before he even passed away. I remember
Yeah.
that. I was like, wait, I know his son. He does Tanakh talk. I was like, why is he lying?
It's really
I
wild.
Yeah.
I actually at one point when we started having some pretty heavy disagreements on a lot of stuff, and I unplugged from there completely. I withdrew I even canceled the email address that I had signed up to, because I tried to get him to stop sending me stuff because I didn't want to keep getting all the information, and he refused to do it because I guess they're emailers, however that works, I'm not sure. So after about 6 months or a year, I just got curious how he was doing. But I didn't want to contact him, so I figured, I know what I'll do. I'll just go to his website. I'll create a brand new email address that he can't tie to me, and then I'll just subscribe, and that way I can kind of keep up to date with him at least, because I still loved him, and it was like and I wanted to keep up with his health and with his well-being, and that was really the only way I could do it. And so as I
know the timing is bad. I know it's horrible, but you're gonna have to give me about
Oh, it's
15
almost 8.
seconds.
I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to keep y'all so long.
no, that's fine. I mean, technically, go ahead.
No, I know, but I don't want to leave. I don't have a choice. Hold the phone a minute, okay?
You got it. So basically, I had I made another email address and kept up with it that way. And I found out after about 6 months or so, he sent out this mass emailer. And the reason why I'm telling you guys this is not to speak bad of my dad. I love my dad, but it's to prove to you that there are so many people out there, and if you're a Christian or Messianic watching this, you need to listen to this. There's so many people out there who claim they're Jew. They claim they're from the tribe of Judah or from the tribe of Levi just to get your attendance, just to get your money. My dad is neither, and he literally sent out a mass emailer for major donations, and he had everybody linked together, so everybody was like responding to everybody, so all the messages were public to everybody, like a chat room. And he literally said... two people in there said, I've been saving up tithes for about 4 or 5 years now, but I don't want to give it to somebody unless they're from the tribe of Levi, or the priesthood. And I swear to God, he literally, before the next morning, sent out a response letter saying that we are from the tribe of Levi, me and my wife both. Okay?
Sorry about that.
No,
I'm back.
No, that's okay. And so the point is, just because somebody says they're from a tribe or says they're Jewish, that even nowadays is almost a red flag. Yeah, I don't believe that unless you can actually prove it. He wouldn't. They asked him to. Actually, they didn't ask him anything. They were like, "Oh, this is great news." I actually responded as an alias, and I was like, "Really?" I said, "That's really an outstanding claim." I said, "Do you have any paperwork or proof that would say such a thing?" And he goes, "My brother." He goes, "My brother has all the genealogy. He's sending it to me now, right?" So it was the email. As soon as I read the email, I got on the phone. I called my Uncle John. I said, "Uncle John," I said, "Do you have any email?" He only has one brother. I said, "Do we have any genealogy paperwork?" He goes, "No. Why?" There you go. And so people will do anything and everything to get their numbers up, to take your money, to do whatever the case may be. So watch your back. Don't trust it. Just because somebody says they're a Jew doesn't mean they're a Jew. There's a Mattel Ballaston guy who gave his testimony, who's got like 100,000 views. There's this Jewish guy. He looks Jewish, got the beard. He's wearing a talit, wearing a yarmulke. But he says, so I was raised in a Jewish home. He goes, "Man, I know the scriptures." And he goes, "This is the funniest thing of all." He says, and the Lord showed me that Yeshua was the Messiah by pointing me straight to Isaiah 7:14. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. That is like the most ridiculous thing you could ever say to someone, especially if you're I'm like, oh my God, please tell me this guy is not for real. But people are taking him seriously. Turns out he was not raised in a religious home. He was raised as a secular Jew. Never knew anything about the Bible at all. Turned into a Christian and called him Messianic, and now he's saving thousands of souls because people believe he was Jewish, who knows the Hebrew Scriptures, who also accepted Yeshua. Very dangerous. Very dangerous.
And the biggest deal is, if you only tell the truth, you only have to remember one thing that you say to people.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But if you start even stretching it or deviating, you have to remember what you said earlier, because you will most likely forget. That's the problem.
Absolutely.
So if you just be honest.
By the way, isn't there a New Testament line about how the Lord hates a liar?
Yeah.
It's actually towards I haven't read the NT for a lot of years. It's somewhere in Revelation where all liars are thrown into the lake of fire. And oftentimes, when I tell a Messianic that, within seconds they usually block me.
Mm-hmm.
Right, of course.
Usually. So it's like, well, that's your Bible, not mine.
Another mind-blowing thing to me happens when you have Messianics who are trying to do Aliyah, and they'll go before a Beis Din and they will deny their faith in Yeshua. But Jesus himself said, "If you deny me before men, I will deny you." What are they trying to gain?
And that's in their Bible, not ours.
It's in their own Bible. Yeah, it's so mind-blowing. I'm like, holy cow. They would rather be in Israel than to go to heaven. So you're gonna risk denying Jesus and go to hell when you die just so you can live amongst the Jews for another 20 years. That makes no sense. It's really stupid.
Yeah, preferably do both rather than lie and risk.
Yeah. Well, hey, Christo, thanks for calling, dude. It's a pleasure chatting with you.
Christo, good talking to you.
All right, and since both y'all have my number, call whenever you like, and I apologize for keeping y'all so long.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Soon.
We'll meet one day.
Not soon enough, William.
True.
Have a good week,
You too.
everybody.
Thank
on
you so
chat
much.
and both of you.
Hey, you too. You too. Very good. Cool. Well, we can if you want to check some chats some more, we can take another call or so if you want to. Usually I'm in a rush to get out of here, but usually I'm in a rush to get out because I'm so exhausted and I got to work tomorrow.
Yes, I know.
But I've actually took a pretty good nap before we started today. My old man.
You do that every week, then.
I know I should, right?
Is there anybody calling?
There was 3 people called while both callers were on. So the number I'll put back up on screen for a moment and see if anybody else has any more pressing questions you'd like to ask. All right. Very good. There we go. All right. 855-952-4253. If you're on the run, you're driving down the road listening, just remember it's 855-95-BIBLE. Wait, they don't have those numbers and letters associations on your cell phone, do they? It's just numbers. Forget that.
I thought they did.
If you're dialing from a rotary phone, 855-95-BIBLE. Which should also mean that you wasn't born more than...
No, it's also on your keypad on your cell phone.
Is it? I didn't look. I just assumed it wasn't. Maybe it is. I never use it, so. I'll be. All right. Phone line's still open. We'll give it just another minute or so. If nobody calls, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. But there you go, man. There you go. Yeah, so I think what we should do, we should try one time soon, Rabbi. I like the idea of using Zoom. I need somebody to teach me how to use it, though. I mean, like somebody who's really, really well versed with Zoom to show
Basically,
me all. To show
you
me
and
all,
I talk to each other on Zoom instead of talking to each other on Skype.
Rabbi, that's not my need. I need somebody who is really, really knows Zoom super intimately to train me for about a half an hour on all the really key tricks and stuff that most people don't know about, and then I'm gonna start practicing with it. I don't want to just click and play and wonder where things are at. I think it'd be a good thing to do though, because then we can see people's faces when they call. I love that idea. Technically, we could do that on Skype, but the problem with Skype is I don't want to have I literally don't want to have a phone book that's got 500 names, or better yet, 10,000 names in it. I need to keep that list small so it's easy to keep track of. Zoom, I don't know if you have to do that or not. So,
you got a couple more minutes?
Yeah, go for it. What's up?
Here it is. I found it.
Okay.
Thank you for your service. Question is, why don't we see any activities between God and human beings? I know we do not have timelines, but when can we see the Messiah?
Thank you. By the way, that's the question I was going literally reading when the phone rang. Good deal.
Okay.
Good deal.
All right.
That's good.
So, I'm not sure why it seems the person Pavan asked the question limiting activities between God and humans to the Messiah. I mean, God is interacting with humans all the time.
Caller, sit tight. Caller, sit tight. We'll be with you in just a moment. Don't hang up, okay? Rabbi, go ahead.
I'm not. Thank you for your service. Question is, why don't we see any activities between God and human beings?
Like prophecy, for example.
Prophecy ended at the destruction of the first temple.
Or like super miracles, like Christianity claims that they have miracles.
You've got the same kind of miracles in the Jewish community too. You've got,
yeah.
Certainly in Chabad stories, you've got that's
Right.
not the sole domain of Christianity.
Okay, right.
You've got the same kind of thing in Buddhism and Hinduism. You've got every religion has miracle stories.
That is true. But one thing that has ceased is prophecy. But Christianity uses the opposite of that to validate their things in the New Testament.
Right.
So, and that's one thing that certainly has ended. Now, if you're wondering why it's ended, because honestly, we don't need any more prophecy. Everything we need has already been given there. It's like me giving my son, instructions on how to paint the fence. Go get a pressure washer, get all this stuff, and then all this list of things. Like once I've given him every information he needs, why do I need to tell him again? Especially if he's got it in writing, he doesn't need me to remind him. So there's no other need for more prophecy. Now, granted, prophecy also had multiple purposes. It wasn't just about predicting the future, but it was also about rebuking, which oftentimes it was more about rebuking than it was about future. But the thing is, everything's in motion. The plan for redemption has already been set in place.
You know that what makes a prophet is not that they foretell the future, but rather that they are correcting some immoral, unethical act.
Right. That's
in the day in which they lived.
Right.
So prophecy isn't really telling the future.
No. I said prophecy can be. That could be one aspect of a prophet, but rebuking people was massively huge. That was like a major thing, because every time a prophet came up, it's like there was always like, hey, repent, blah blah blah, and here's what's going to happen,
Repaint, and sin no more.
Yeah.
If you know the illusion that I.
Okay, Rabbi, we'll take this last caller. Caller, you're live on the air. Thank you for being patient with us. Tell us your name, where you're calling from.
Chris, calling from Florida.
Chris Thompson, how are you, brother?
Yes, my question is, why is there no mention of Pharisees in the Hebrew scripture?
No mention of Pharisees, no mention of rabbis either, for example. And Pharisees and rabbis are basically the same thing. And
the answer is, why is there no mention of an automobile in the New Testament?
Okay, because
but it's like, where did they come from?
Well, it developed through history. The Bible explicitly says, it talks about the judges in those days, the people who made the decisions in those days. And that group in those days started to be called rabbis after having been called Pharisees. after having been called scribes, I believe. It was a group of people who were well educated in what the Bible says, who then started interpreting it and explaining it, all the way back to Ezra and Nehemiah, where it says when they rededicated the temple to God, the second temple, when they rebuilt the temple, it says that they read the law and interpreted it. And that's the people who did the interpretation later became known as the rabbis. But the idea of what the rabbis did is biblical. It talks about, go to the judge of that day, go to the I forgot what it says, the leaders of that time. But they wouldn't have the name rabbi. They'd have the task of what rabbis did, like Ezra and Nehemiah, where it says they read the law and interpreted it.
Right, but I was mostly focused on the Pharisee, the term Pharisee.
Right, Pharisee.
I mean,
right, but remember something. Biblical writing ended a certain number of years, don't ask me how many, after the destruction of the first temple. Judaism and Jewish history didn't stop then. Jews actually don't wear sandals and robes. Okay, right. We drive cars. We I don't know what. Turn on a lamp. Okay, the needs. The needs of any society evolve, change, grow over time. What the teachers did, what the rabbis did, what the leaders of that day, or I can't remember if it says the judges of that day, what they did is they took the values, the ethics, the morals, the lessons of the Tanakh, of the Bible, and applied it to their or our modern period. They took statements in the Bible, like the mezuzah, write them on the doorposts of your house, and they figured out a way to understand what them was. Right. They applied it to their situation. They said, we're going to do what the Bible says, but how we do it, okay, we have to figure it out. We have to interpret it. We have to take a look at the text and figure it out from there.
Now, there's more. You were asking only about the Pharisees, but like rabbis and stuff. There is an acronym. Doesn't mean it started off being an acronym, but it certainly is an acronym for the rabbis, Rosh B'nai Yisrael, the heads of the children of Israel. So, and it makes sense and it works. Don't know if that was the original intent, but that's kind of where that whole aspect.
But they were, in fact, the heads of the people.
That's what I mean. It actually is true. Whether it existed then or not didn't really matter. So,
right.
Nowadays we have teachings in school, for example. So I'm sure the microphone.
And you could say the same thing in the New Testament, for example,
right.
about reverends.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Where do they ever talk about reverends? Now, right. I may revere you, but just because I revere you doesn't make you a reverend.
Right.
A reverend is someone who is specifically ordained to lead the church, to interpret text, to do what reverends do.
Did you know that
reverend as a job description doesn't exist that I know of anywhere in the New Testament?
Did you know that this is a cool point to add to that idea? Nowadays in school, they're coming up with these different ways to do math, and they've got these different rules for following spelling and grammar and things like this. I remember when I was in school, when there was a vowel, there was 2 markings for a vowel. It was either a straight line, which means a hard A, if it was an A, or a U over it, which means a short, like cup, like cat, or right? But now they actually have what's called a schwa, and it literally is kind of like a Hebrew vowel pointing system. But the thing is, it's 100% official. It's 100% true. It's 100% long-term existent. Just nobody identified with it yet. Now that they came up with the rule, people are learning these things faster because they have more barriers and more guidelines to help them along. So just because it wasn't there before, it doesn't mean it didn't exist. It just means that no one actually put it down yet. Kind of with the oral law. Oral law was oral at first, and later on it became written. Didn't mean it wasn't always there. It's always been there. It's even there, present in the New Testament. It's even obviously present in the New Testament. So anyway, it's kind of a cool thing. So, well, thank you for your call. I appreciate it, Chris, and you have a great week, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for your call.
All right, you too.
You bet. Bye. All right, cool. That was fun. All right, well, Rabbi, I guess we can wrap it up. It is officially. Oh, it's only 8:15. I thought it was 8:30. We could probably get one more question if you want. You see anything else you want to answer?
Oh, well, I saw that because that was the last one when I looked.
I think it was too.
Let's see. Yeah.
D'Andrea, that's so brilliant. She says, so the churches argue about their text, but we wrote down our discussions and disagreements, all for the sake of heaven. So very true. We have nothing to hide. Nothing at all. That's very cool. All right. My phone was buzzing. Did I miss a call? I finally figured out how to turn the ringer off of the computer, and I sent the signal to my cell phone, but I missed it for some reason. Yeah, I did. I missed a call. Sorry, guys. Try again. We do have a few more minutes.
Golem one, that's interesting. Where is the word prushim in the Tanakh? Imagine offhand, I have no idea.
I don't think it's in there, is it?
Well, he says prushim are Pharisees in the Tanakh.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I thought that was something that was like a newer term also. In fact, I actually thought that was a New Testament term.
Well, I didn't think it was a New Testament term, but whatever.
Huh.
At any rate.
Somebody will know. By the way, Larry Beck, sorry, brother, I see you out there. Man, we need to get together again soon. Janice Hart, good to see you.
Hey, Wally Cleaver, thank you for the $3, donation for William.
I didn't see. Oh, yeah, who did that?
Wally Cleaver.
Wally, thank you. He's always buying me coffee. He didn't want me falling asleep, man. He's a good man. Thank you, Wally. That's awesome. Appreciate that. Oh, I see it there. Okay, there you go. Finger dance. Okay, Andrea says we can't leave without the finger dance. Steve Angel. Wait, did I see Steve Angel? Maybe I did.
Steve Angel. Baptism was not Jewish. Baptism took our ritual of mikveh,
right,
ritual immersion, and perverted its meaning and came up with baptism.
Yep. Very good.
So.
Well, if I miss saying hi, Skunk Ape Farm Off Grid. Okay, so I can only call you by your YouTube name, and although it sounds funny, I like seeing some of these names. It's kind of humorous, but anyway, but it's come from Zoroastrianism. Actually, Skunk Ape Farm Off Grid, I think it, as far as Christians go, it does come from the mikvah, from Judaism. Now, maybe Zoroastrianism does it too, but as far as we're concerned, the Hebrew Bible was the first. I mean, here's the thing. Judaism, the idea of the Tanakh and the Bible, came about 500 years before all these other illuminations from all these, from you name it, from Hindu, Buddhism. Those came like 500 years later. So my current understanding is that Judaism itself was the really first Enlightenment. And so, and since they were already doing the mikvah, I would have to say they came from that. That's just my opinion.
William,
yes.
even if they existed simultaneously, water is the most abundant material that covers the surface of the earth.
Right.
Okay? Look at all the oceans, lakes, streams, rivers, bayous, whatever. Okay? The idea of having a ritual that involves water or dunking in water or sprinkling in water isn't that far-fetched, and wide variety of groups can come up with that simultaneously or independent of each other.
Even just simply metaphorically, I mean, what do you do when you get dirty? You go take a bath.
Right.
What do you do when you're spiritually dirty?
To be cleansed,
right?
Although that's not really what mikveh does for Judaism, but that's okay. That's,
Oh, yeah, no, I understand. My point is, though, because, I mean, like, there's laws in there that says, for example, if you touch the dead carcass of an unclean animal.
Libby Bond is from Southwest Missouri? Is that what she said?
Looks like it.
Libby Bond, if you're from Southwest Missouri, where? Springfield, Missouri, my hometown? Born and raised in Springfield, Missouri?
Nice.
I'm born and raised in Springfield, Missouri.
Now you got to figure out, did y'all go to school together? How old are you? Rabbi, how old are you?
And for all I know, I've talked to her about this. I have no memory, but Libby Bond from Southwest Missouri. I am born and raised in Springfield, Missouri. Branson was my backyard. Branson was like 25 miles away. We used to go to Joplin, Missouri, in order to have a religious youth group.
Wow, that's cool.
So
another good comment to comment on Rafes, Servant of the Most High. I'm just confused how accurate the book of Revelation is, right? With everything happening in this world. So, Mark of the Beast, etc. Okay, now, here's the thing. Even a broken clock is correct twice a day. At least an analog clock, anyway. So, the thing about it is, what we have now, we have the text of the New Testament that's fully written, and we have all these opportunities. Everybody knows about the New Testament. I personally could take something from the New Testament and try to make it seem like prophecy fulfilled just by saying, look, I did this but it says right here this would happen, and I did it. Wow, it must be true. That doesn't mean anything. The biggest thing is, the number one thing about serving the Creator is, first of all, like Deuteronomy 13, 1 through 5. This is a test. If somebody does signs and wonders and miracles, or fulfilling a prophecy, if you want to look at it this way, this is a test to you to see whether or not you will adhere to his commandments. That's exactly what it says. Deuteronomy 13, 1 through 5. Check it out. So even if it is fulfilling some weird, super spiritual New Testament thing, even if it is, it's still a test to see if you will accept the Creator or if you're going to buy into the New Testament Jesus. So no matter how you look at it, it's still a one-way ticket. So very good. Longview, Missouri. This Libby Bond.
Yeah. Southwest of Branson. I know right where that is.
Nice.
Cool. Parkview High School, class of 71. Parkview in Springfield. And Mark Twain in Delaware before that. And Jarrett Junior High in between.
Wow, holy cow. Guillemont, see, you're a contractor. That's cool. I used to drive Guillemont. I used to drive a concrete mixer truck for about 2 years. So it's kind of interesting. I never worked in it, but I always delivered it. I spent a lot of time.
My father was a scrap dealer, by the way.
Really? Dun 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 dun. Like Sanford and Son, scrap dealer?
Yeah.
See? Right on target, baby.
Yep.
All right.
No. Wait. I don't think Yom Dashuk, or however that's pronounced, was calling me a pompous Christian, or saying that I think he was referring to somebody before that. I don't remember.
Oh, no. Actually, Yom Dashuk did say that. He actually I'm looking at the comment now, as it gives me a chance to see deleted comments, and it does say a very derogatory statement. And so,
but I'm putting okay. I think he says Rabbi Stuart Federow, and then
no comma,
looks like a pompous Christian. He just looked like he left off the comma.
Oh, you mean it was an accidental typo? Oh,
no, it's
it could
not
be
a typo. It's just he's saying, "Hey, Rabbi, the guy who was talking before you're referring to
Rabbi,
looks like a pompous Christian."
A typo means you missed that, you left something out. If you left out a comma, that's a typo.
Okay, all right.
I think you may be right. That could be right. So, okay, Yom Dashuk, if that's what you mean, if you're not talking about Rabbi, you should have put a comma in there. You're cool. You're cool. But if you meant Rabbi Federow, then I'm sorry, but you're going to have to be very careful. You're walking on thin ice. So I've got listen, Larry Beck and Andre Weinberg are two of my long-term moderators, and they're very careful in filtering people out. And we don't block Christians, we don't block Muslims, we block buttheads. If you're Jewish,
by the way,
we actually have blocked. Hold on, we've actually blocked Jewish people on here for coming in being rude to other people, like really just being nasty. I don't care what your religion is. You come to this channel, be respectful, you get to stay. That's how we play, you know.
William Christo says about Revelation isn't accurate. People are interpreting it however they want to.
Oh,
if you go into a Baptist bookstore, okay, they go by many different names, but go into a Christian bookstore, you will find a whole wall where every book on the wall is dedicated to the author's interpretation of what Revelation is talking about, and not any one book agrees with any other book.
Right. True. Very true.
It's amazing to me.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool.
Oh, I'm going the wrong way. I'm trying to scroll, find out news. It's going from But Skunk Cape Farm off grid is it buttheadism, the new religion?
Yeah. And if you don't believe in buttheadism, you're just going to die and go to hell.
That's funny. Wipe
Wait,
you
is
love.
that Beavis and Butthead? Maybe Butthead was the Messiah, and Beavis was his Elijah.
Hey, I have a final question for you. I saw this in chat earlier. Okay, so this is where we're going to close on this, and I only ask you because you have talked more on this topic than I think anybody else I know. I think Larry. Well, I know, but you know a lot on it. So Larry Beck brought up an interesting point. The name Yeshua is within itself is a feminine name because it ends in right? Like Isaiah Yashiyahu.
Wait a minute.
Okay,
hold it. You're confusing grammatical things.
Thank you. That's why I'm asking.
Okay. Yeshua, the way they write it. Okay. Let's back up 10 steps.
Okay, first let me restate the question first because you kind of skated in before I was finished.
All right. Sorry. Okay. I do that a lot.
That's okay. We kind of assume people who are not proficient.
But I don't really mean to interrupt. I apologize.
No, that's okay. No, you did good. So, in Hebrew, when
I interrupt, I'm not really doing it on purpose.
Except for now. Hey, I'm going to give you. I can't do it now.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
That's funny. Okay, so the assumption with the idea of like not proper nouns, but like with other things. Right. Where it has the AH sound at the end, or the oat, or the whatever you call it. There's some sort of a connection where it says the Yeshua is feminine, whereas other names like if you look at Isaiah in English, but I mean Yeshayahu or Yeremiyahu, but then you have Yeshua. That's what we're trying to find out. What's the difference there?
Okay, first of all, if you believe that Jesus' name is the same word as the word for salvation, salvation is Yeshua. Okay? So that's where the comes from. That would make it feminine. Okay? If the word is supposed to be Yeshua, then it's pronounced Yeshua. It's a tseri.
Right.
2 dots sideways,
not
laying down.
But yay.
Okay. Not Yeshua, but Yeshua. Okay. Here's the problem. Okay. Are we talking about Mary and Joseph saying, hey, Jesus, come here, come on in, time to go to sleep? Okay. Are we talking about his day-to-day name, what he was called? Okay? If you write it out is different than how you pronounce it, because most likely their day-to-day language was Aramaic, and we know from various things that we've discovered through archaeology and whatever, that the pronunciation would have been Yeshu. It still would have been spelled with the ayin on the end, but the sound, the pronunciation of it, the guttural ayin at the end would have been dropped. Okay, Yeshu.
Okay. I got you.
It's like the H on the end of hurrah.
Yeah, or Sarah.
You don't say hurrah.
Right.
You say hurrah. It's still there. You don't hear it because it's a aspirant. It's I don't know how to pronounce. I don't know how to describe it. It's the
that makes sense,
movement of air. Okay. Yeah. Titus, come on. Yeah, right. Very funny. Skunk Ape Farm off grid.
Hey, Rabbi.
Yes.
That's a really great comment, and I have to interject because I believe Devin Coates And once again, I said this last time, Devin, you and your wife, y'all are just, it was so nice hanging out with you guys in Houston. So he said, topic idea, was Jesus the Antichrist, since he did the opposite of what Messiah was supposed to do? Very intriguing, my friend. Very intriguing.
Yes, it is. Of course, then Jesus becomes the anti of himself, but I guess if he can be...
But he also prayed to himself, so that kind of works.
Right, that's what I was going to... I was trying to word that as quick. I couldn't get it worded quickly enough. You beat me to it.
That's funny. Okay, cool. Well, guys, it has been a great, fun night, and I really mean that with all my heart. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this baby up. Rabbi, thank you so much for being available and hanging out with us.
Always.
If I could start taking a nap beforehand, we might start making this a 2-hour show like we do with Rabbi Singer.
Well, I think 2 hours might be too long for people. They're going to sit and watch a video for 2 hours.
Well, I think it depends on the content,
Well, maybe that's true.
Chris Timmons, I think it was him who called in. Thank you for calling in. It was awesome. That's funny too. Chris Timmons said had a really. I'm sorry. I will leave after this. Chris Timmons says, I don't know. He said, I don't know how. That's funny. How they say they're covered by the blood. So how does blood wash away any blood? Anyway, good point. All these thoughts are really. What's really cool is, from what I can tell, the metaphors and analogies and stuff and allegories used in the Tanakh, they all make sense. But the ones in the New Testament, sometimes they don't pan out very well. I'm not really sure what that's all about. Paula Wallace, thank you also. AT, like the silent. Oh yeah, like the silent. Like, that's a good point. AT said when you were talking about spelling, it's like the silent E on the word fate. You don't say fate or fate. You just say
Feta.
Or feta, yeah. Right.
Right.
Awesome. All right. See, John Van Mayen, good to see you here. Just make sure I didn't miss anybody. I probably did. If I did, sorry. I'll try to catch you guys next week. Give you a big shout out, no doubt. And I'm scrolling up. I think we got everybody. Okay, cool. Well, what a day it's been. Rabbi, you have a great night. All you guys have a great week.
Day this has been.
Finger dance.
What a rare mood I've been.
Andrea says we can't leave without the finger dance. There it is. You do it so much better than I do. See you later, guys. Peace out. Have a great week. Shalom, shalom.
חשוב מכל חשוב והכרחי להיות